All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to my talk. So, NYU gave me this incredible opportunity to attend a training in brain spotting, which I'll go into, which is a powerful, innovative brain body psychotherapy that's been gaining a lot of traction in trauma therapy world. Um, so this presentation is designed not really to make us instant experts, but to give us a working understanding of what brain spotting is, how it works, when it might be appropriate, and how it fits into a greater therapeutic context. So I'll walk through how brain spots are located, different methods used in practice, and why brain spotting is so deeply relational and somatic. So hopefully by the end, you have a good sense of what brain spotting can offer to clients, especially around navigating trauma. And you'll also learn about the training process if you're interested in exploring it further. So, what is brain spotting? So, brain spotting is this powerful therapeutic tool that was developed by Dr. David Grand in 2003. It's based on this idea that the direction where someone looks can really access different parts of the brain, especially the parts that are storing unprocessed trauma. So, this approach engages the subcortical brain where trauma often gets stuck and gives clients access to healing, oftentimes beyond what talk therapy can reach. So Dr. Grant discovered brain spotting actually by accident while helping a figure skater with a performance block. Dr. Grant noticed that when her eyes locked on a certain spot, she began releasing really intense trauma that had never really been surfaced before. And so this was a really pivotal moment, right? Because he realized that the eye position could tap deep into neural pathways. So he started using this approach with more clients and consistently saw deeper and more integrated processing. So the core of brain spotting really involves locating a brain spot, which is an eye position that correlates with trauma or activation in the body. So the therapist and client track where the client feels the most activated, rates it using the SUD scale, which is the subjective units of distress, and identifies the eye position that holds the most intensity. The client maintains focus while staying mindful of their experience internally, and therapists will use the term squeezing the lemon, which just means, ensuring that the activation is fully processed by attending to any last bits of activation. So let's talk a bit of brain science here. So brain spotting engages the subcortical brain, specifically the limbic system and the brainstem, and these govern emotion, fear responses, and body regulation. So unlike traditional talk therapy, brain spotting bypasses the neocortex, which is responsible for language and logic. And this is important because trauma is often stored in non-verbal reflexive systems. So typically not in words, but really in movements and reactions and sensations. Brain spotting activates the autonomic nervous system and supports neuroplasticity, which is our brain's ability to change and rewire. And it's not just psychological, it's physiological healing that promotes regulation from the ground up. So, what makes brain spotting unique? Well, it really emphasizes both the relational and neurobiological attunement. And what I mean by that is the therapist doesn't do the healing for the client. Instead, they create the space of a compassionate presence while also guiding the client's brain around processing. And so we call this a dual attunement frame. It's really about both the external presentation of the client, so nonverbal cues, physical cues, as well as understanding the internal experience of the client, such as emotions, thoughts, and sensations. So the first setup, or the first, uh, uh, method of brain spotting we call is called outside window. So this is where the therapist leads the process. Here we slowly move a pointer across the client's field of vision and really observe for micro reflexes. So these could be eye twitches or really fast blinking or just even shifts in their body. And so these subtle body cues really signal some kind of activation. And so once we spot them, we can hold that gaze at that point and begin processing. Um, This setup is particularly good for clients who have trouble accessing internal sensations. Um, yeah. The second one is called Inside Window. And so this one is more collaborative. And instead of watching for eye reflexes, the client is invited to feel into their own body and sense whether looking left, right, up, or down increases or decreases that level of activation. So we use sort of the horizontal axis to locate the region of activation and then follow it up by adjusting on the y-axis. So this approach empowers the client to guide the process, and is especially effective when clients can track their own body sensations. Then the third form is called gaze spotting, which is perhaps a more intuitive form. So here, clients just fixate on a spot when discussing something emotional. And our job as therapists is to invite them to stay with that spot to allow processing. There's some advanced techniques around here called one eye brain spotting or Z axis and rolling brain spotting. These techniques are covered in phase 2, which is the next phase of training. And so each mode really expands what the therapist is able to achieve in these situations. And so for clients who are more who are more highly activated or dissociative, we can use what's called the resource model. So instead of finding where the trauma lives, we can find where the calm or sense of groundedness can live in the body for clients. And so we can then locate an eye position that supports the state. And so using the resource model, it helps, it's generally more stabilizing and gentle. So clients with this activation are able to tolerate the emotional work without flooding. To wrap up, brain spotting is a really distinctive therapy that merges the neurobiological science with relational somatic practices, and it helps clients process trauma that's often unreachable through traditional talk therapy. And the way it does this is by working through the body and the brain's sort of natural scanning mechanisms. Um, Clinicians also like brain spotting because it's not particularly rigid or overly protocol driven, like let's say EMDR. And so it really can integrate well with other modalities like, psychodynamic, CBT, somatic, or an IFS lens. And I think most importantly, it really emphasizes uh, the client and their centering their healing through their brain and body. Finally, if you're interested in becoming certified in brain spotting, this is a general overview. So, the training I did was part of phase 1, which is the first, 3-day weekend training where you learn some of these core techniques that I just covered, called outside window and inside window. And then phase 2 builds upon this, adding deeper work with clinical applications, the resource model. And then phase 3 and other specialty trainings, they're not required for certification, but they're great for advanced practice. And to be certified, you need both phase 1 and phase 2, followed by at least 6 hours of consultation, as well as 50 hours of just practicum with clients. And so even if, you don't plan to certify right away, maybe you're just interested in getting started with brain spotting, doing phase 1 can really offer you some tools to start integrating brain spotting into your work. So you can find all the trainings that brain spotting offers at brainspotting.com. So there you have it. Yeah, thank you for tuning into my talk on brain spotting. Hope you're able to pick up on some of the basics of brain spotting and consider attending a training in the future if you're interested. Thanks.